Preparing the live stream. Should be any minute. Okay, we are live. Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining back with us on another Friday Live. Today I have Will Lopez with me. We are so lucky to have him joining us. Will is head of the accountant community at Gustro. He's going to teach us all about how Gustro can help you simplify your payroll needs and your employee benefit needs. So thank you so much, Will, for joining us. I can't wait to hear everything about Gustro.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Katie. This is really awesome. Really excited to spend the next 60 minutes with you and hang out with everybody that's on YouTube. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'm sure shout out to Katie for just an amazing job. Be sure to subscribe below, hit the little bell button, and that way you can stay up to speed with Katie.
Hey, thanks, Will, so much for that. So I'd love to just go back a little bit and talk about you and your history, even prior to Gustro, and then how you got involved with Gustro.
Yeah, so great question. So I'm an accountant by trade. I've been in public accounting pretty much all my professional career. I started doing controllership work for a large non-for-profit in the South Florida area for about 4 years. Went back and finished my undergraduate and master's, and then got into public accounting with a traditional accounting firm down in South Florida. So it's a large regional firm in the area. I was a financial statement auditor, loved doing financial statement auditing, did that for about 5 years, and then ended up leaving that to start AdvisorFi, which was a South Florida-based accounting firm that pretty much was a very progressive practice. So I was actually telling this story just the other day that when I started my practice, I remember saying to myself, there's no way I can compete in my local area, because South Florida is very traditional in its approach to small business owners and business owners in general. But also at the same time, there's just a lot of accounting firms down there. So I knew right off the bat that I wasn't going to be able to really compete well, because I didn't have name recognition. I didn't have anything like that. So I ended up taking my endeavors online and started engaging with clients all across the United States, and joined recently to empower the accounting partner and community side here at Gustro. But that was about 7 months ago. But 7 months ago, we were in about 35 states. We had clients in Canada, UK, and South America. And I hired my team locally to my area, but we served all our clients not locally. So it was all online. Built software that integrated into Xero. So I built like a business intelligence tool that ended up integrating as a differentiator online. So we were like tech plus accounting, and building a collaborative dashboard for all our clients to engage on. So long story short, spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to engage other business owners that were not in front of us really, really well, where they saw a lot of value, they felt like a lot of touch points, and they were really happy with what we were doing.
So what was that transition like, going from, running the show to now you're still running the show at Gustro? I mean, the first person I thought of when I, wanted to approach Gustro and have him on a Friday Live was Will Lopez, but I'm sure that transition was it was definitely a transition. So yeah, what was it like?
Yeah, so it was a big decision for me. I was born and raised in South Florida. My family's in South Florida. My friends are in South Florida. My entire livelihood was down there. I've never moved anywhere in particular for any particular large reason. So when the opportunity presented itself, I spoke at an internal gathering that Gustro has here, where they try to empower their sales team members through a multi-day training session called Magic Academy. So last year, Gustro had me fly in with a couple other partners to kind of share the accountant side of the story of why we love Gustro. And from there, actually sparked some of the conversations early on with like Lexi Reese, who's our COO, to Lithia Cornweeble, who's our CMO, about really trying to help Gustro build out the community side of the accounting channel, or the accounting partners that we serve and we are so passionate about. So, but I didn't make the decision right away. It was probably that started in like June or maybe July. And I didn't end up making my decision all the way till March of this year, and sold my home, everything, moved my family, and moved to Denver, Colorado in June. So I had 3 months to pull that whole thing off. And I was on the fence, I would say, all the way to the end, because I was very happy owning AdvisorFi, but I also saw that I really loved just my profession as a whole, and I wanted to try to empower other accountants to really push their firm and their practice forward. And I felt more connected to that than I did, to the day-to-day running an accounting practice. So
that's really, really neat to see, you transition to a different role while it's still in the same industry,
yep.
but I'm sure it was totally different. So before we get, too far into talking about Gusto and specifically how you are empowering the accountant community, I just want to take a step back and talk a little bit about Gusto and specifically who Gusto really caters to, and that it's not, for anyone watching, it's not necessarily just to accountants, which I do want to come back to later, but if you want to talk a little bit about now how Gusto helps small businesses and specifically who, that would be awesome.
Yeah. So what's interesting is when I made my decision to come over to Gusto, reason why I decided to literally turn my life upside down and come do this was because their mission was very, very similar to my mission at my practice. So Gusto's mission is to create a world of work empowers a better life. And we build our teams, we build our solutions, and we try to basically serve the underserved, which is the small business market. We're very passionate about that, just that section. I ended up just realizing that a lot of the things that they were shooting for, I was shooting for personally. And the way we build everything, even our product and services, is on 3 pillars really. So it's helping SMBs and accounting professionals to provide them peace of mind, to help them build a great place to work, and then to have personal prosperity. So with those 3 things, we push our agenda forward with like a hyper fixation on the small business market. So, Gusto pretty much exists to make payroll and serving people much more enjoyable, because I personally, as an accountant, a professional accountant, I can't say payroll and enjoyable in the same sentence. Like that's not 2 concepts you mash together, because it's not enjoyable, and that's just the truth. It's highly fractured. Living in America is like living in 50 different countries. Every state has their own complexities and their own laws. So Gusto's mission was to solve that pain point, to try to figure out a way to do what we need to do federally, state, and local, but yet make it really, really user-friendly to help build what we call a people platform. So supporting your team through the entire employment journey, right? From like onboarding to payroll, to providing them benefits, to helping them be personally prosperous through like 401k or cash out or anything like that. So basically solving that pain point end to end. So for me, Gusto is extremely perfect for the SMB or the accounting professional that wants to either make payroll as a standalone solution a lot more enjoyable to do, or if you're like me, which is more like a little bit advisory leaning, you could speak into your client's people journey, and you could say, look, SMBs really struggled for a long time, and this is what I personally believe. SMBs struggled for a long time in providing and making any kind of great first impression, and that's why losing staff as a small business owner, losing employees that really push your business forward is a huge detriment. So if you're a small business of 5 employees and you lose 1 because they see better benefits, better opportunities, better basically payroll surrounded options that they can get themselves into. Like, I want better medical, health, and vision. I want life insurance. I want an HSA. They see the bigger picture of employment. If you lose 1 out of 5, that's 20% of your workforce. So for Gusto, it's really trying to empower and almost democratize the benefits that and the luxuries that these larger businesses who have the wherewithal to roll out amazing programs and roll out amazing benefits and roll out a seamless experience of employment from end to end. We've democratized that. We've brought it down to the people. We say, now you can have it, Mr. and Mrs. Small Business Owner. And even regardless if your team is, a team of 4 in total or 400, we could serve that. The team of 4, we could serve just as well as we were serving the team of 400. And that's how I kind of look at it. And that's really the heart of Gusto.
Yeah. And like you said, the people in your organization, especially whenever you're really, really small, you lose one person and that's 20, 30, maybe even 50% of your workforce. That's huge. So I love the mission, and I'm so glad you shared that with us. What's the process like for a new company to onboard and get set up with Gusto?
Yeah, I mean, it's really straightforward. You can go to gusto.com and you can sign up for Gusto right on the spot, and one of our care team members or our sales team members will reach out to you, help you get set up. But it's simple enough for any small business owner who has no financial knowledge and or an accounting professional who's just getting themselves into payroll to really set up. So we have teams that serve the small business owner side to make sure they're taken care of. We have teams here at Gusto that help serve the accounting professional, help them understand the value proposition that we offer and how to empower their own clients when it comes to people. So yeah, if you go to gusto.com, and I'll make sure to provide you the links, Katie, but you can sign up for Gusto. I think right now for accounting professionals, we're having like a nice end of year promotion where they sign up, they add clients, they can make up to like $3,000 or something like that to get help themselves or get their clients on the better payroll and more. We even offer free payroll for the accounting firm themselves. So when they partner with us, their entire practice gets free payroll and free HR, or basically they get our free subscription to the complete plan, which is our middle plan. For small business owners, we can give them 2 or 3 months free. So just for signing up, but pretty straightforward, obviously super easy, user-friendly platform, but we have people here to also help when you need it.
Awesome. That all sounds incredible. So I've got to ask the question, what makes Gusto different from other payroll providers out there that may be approaching the same accounting firms with their promotions?
Yeah, so the biggest difference, just bar none, which is the same reason how I built my practice, is we keep people centered. And I know people kind of use that as a quib or a quip, and they kind of like say that flippantly, like, yeah, we keep our clients centered or we keep our small business owners centered. No, we really do. Like, what that means is we try to surround them with everything that they could possibly need in order for them to be successful, right? To actually have peace of mind, to actually achieve a place where it's a great place to work because of our solution. And then lastly, to really not only provide the business owner, but then their employees personal prosperity. So it's about solving the heartache that is payroll and everything that comes with having employees, and supporting whatever decision you have to make behind that. Many times, and this is my interpretation of where I feel like the industry is, a lot of the payroll solutions that are out there try to put people into categories or buckets. So they'll say, okay, so your employees need payroll, and so let's put them in the payroll bucket, and we're going to build out a solution that's very different for health insurance. If they need benefits, we'll take those people out of that bucket, we'll throw them into the benefits bucket, and if they want to save for retirement, we'll throw them out of the benefits bucket, we'll throw them into like retirement buckets, and they try to like silo people. But the truth is, people don't look at, like, employees who are not business owners don't look at their own employment with their employer as like a payroll thing or a benefits thing or a retirement thing. Like they don't look at it in very isolated ways. So we build our product not isolating people into certain buckets. We just say, look, we're very opinionated about this. If you're going to hire anybody, you need to support them from end to end. Make a great first impression when you send them the offer letter. Make it easy for them to onboard with your company. So the onboarding is really simple. Make sure that you provide them a great portal and all the cool stuff that you can do when they're working with you day to day and week to week. If you want to extend them benefits because they're having health problems, give them health insurance through Gusto. Everything's seamless. All the edge is taken off. So we just try to think about people and keep them center, and then also be very thoughtful about that end-to-end journey about what it means to work with someone.
Is there a certain revenue threshold or a number of employees? It sounds like you guys serve, employees that sizes of businesses that have very, few employees to large employees, but is there some sort of metric that a small business owner could look at to say, okay, I need to start thinking about offering benefits at this point?
Yeah, so the hard and fast of the amount of employees that our platform is optimized for is any small business owner who has between 1 and 100 employees. While we can support companies that have more than 100 employees, our platform currently is optimized for the 1 to 100, and we're going to make that optimization stronger and stronger. And the reason why we're staying right there, we're very kind of like okay with saying it's between 1 and 100, is because it is the 1 to 100 small business owner that lacks the resources.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these companies go up market and they try to, the moment they build a solution and someone comes around and says, let me throw 1,000 employees on your platform, they get tempted by the money.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, okay, let's actually cater that end of the market. And granted, they will be successful because obviously there's a lot of volume coming in. But our perspective is it's the 1 to 100 employee range for small business owners that have gone so long without any real great solution because everyone keeps going up market. So, our platform is optimized for small business owners between 1 and 100 employees. And then it just depends on basically the success or the amount of people that the small business owner has. So like we integrate really nicely a guideline 401k, which you can offer 401k to your small business. That's generally optimal for small business owners that have 5 or more employees integrated with Gusto. I used it even before I had 5 employees. So for me, it really didn't matter because the value was there. But if you wanted to I think the way the pricing worked was like 5 or more was their base pricing. So you can roll it out if you had 2 employees, 3 employees, it doesn't really matter. Benefits, we serve 2 or more. So we actually offer small business benefits.
Wow.
Yeah, small business group policies. And it's if you have 1 employee or more. So it's got to be the owner themselves plus 1 employee in order to qualify for the small business health insurance. But yeah, and that's everything in a nutshell. Everything really surrounds the 1 or 2 employees or more. 401k is like 5 or more if you want to wait and kind of optimize your dollars there. But pretty much we're really hyper focused on the small company because I follow the Bureau of Labor Statistic that rolls out their monthly economic reports of the jobs numbers. If you read that, it says that 40% of their surveys are actually surveying small business owners that have 20 employees or less. So a lot of the job growth that you see, I think November we had huge job numbers, like 266,000 jobs added to the economy. 40% of that are small business owners that have 20 employees or less. So that's the reason why we're so focused on that, because small business really drives the economy, and we're not going to get distracted by big companies coming to us saying, hey, I'd like to drop in 5,000 employees. Well, we're not going to do that. We're going to try to solve the pain points for the masses.
Yeah. And I'm sure once you start providing solutions to those really large companies, it changes everything and the entire business model. So that's really admirable that Gusto is staying with the small businesses. And I'm sure that's going to continue to expand. And with you, Will, you focused on going to the accountants. That's kind of like you're going to the very top of the funnel to hopefully reach all those other small business owners. So that's super exciting. What's What's the pricing model like?
Yeah, I mean, so the pricing model is extremely transparent. So if you visit gusto.com, you'll see that we have three tier solutions. So actually, let me share my screen. Why not, right?
Perfect.
So let's do this. Okay, so we actually have three tiers that they can get themselves on. I assume you can see my screen.
Yes, yes.
All right, yeah. So we have like core, complete, and concierge. So it's basically a base price plus a certain amount of dollars per employee. That's it. And it covers everything that you could possibly think of. We automatically file all like the federal payroll tax documents that's needed every quarter, every year. We automatically file all the state payroll tax documents that you need quarter and for the year. All of that is automated, so you don't run the risk of late filing on your payroll taxes. You don't run the risk of late filing on your forms, which is really, really prevalent in the space. And even as a professional prior to Gusto, we had to be on top of our game to make sure that things were submitted on time. Least our clients would get hit with penalties and interest, which obviously they're not going to be happy about, even though we made the mistake because we didn't get it on time. But our pricing includes all of that. And just depending on where you are at in your business life, you just kind of slot yourself into it. Generally speaking, the complete plan is the best for the majority of small business owners, and it gets you everything that you would get for your employee, but it provides a little bit more of like support, time tracking, PTO, employee directory and surveys, that kind of stuff. What's really cool too is um, obviously Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies, they have HR departments. I don't know of any small business that has less than 50 employees actually having an HR department, unless they're really just super successful revenue wise. So for the majority of small business owners, they, the idea of creating an employee manual, the idea of creating, employee directories or surveys or employment documents, anything like that is just too far fetched and will cost a lot of money when you work with an HR attorney, which I would know about because I had my employee manual created by an attorney down in South Florida prior to Gusto. And that was a lot of money. So if you want that kind of level of service where you want like end-to-end HR, payroll, benefits, support, the concierge is basically the cream of the crop when it comes to that. Just a higher base price and then a certain amount per employee. But it gives you everything that you can get that your business would ever need, including certified HR pros and teams behind you. So like VIP care team if you're an accountant, concierge teams, stuff like that.
That's awesome. So what's it like for then the accountant who has their clients on Gusto? Is the accountant still involved, or is Gusto the face of that relationship?
No, we wholeheartedly believe, just like I believe, in the way I'm continuing to build the accountant side of Gusto, is that the accountant is first and foremost the person to be trusted. They're the ones with the relationship. They're the ones with the expertise. And quite honestly, my belief is that the industry for such a long time, that is the industry of creating solutions for both small business owners and accountants, have thrown a wedge between the relationship of their client and their pro. And what I mean by that is, for at least 150 years, we've been in this. Accountants are very transactional. You don't need to really do anything with an accountant unless you just need your taxes done or you're in trouble with the IRS. So they've never looked at their professional, and a lot of the industry has painted this narrative that professional accountants are just these transactional people and they're not really a trusted advisor, or what I would say a transformational advisor. They're the ones with almost like the business degree of how to run a business, right? And that's what I look at CPA industry at. Is like it's the ultimate business degree. So they're like the ultimate entrepreneur, except they're providing their advice to the masses rather than themselves running just one particular business. So for 150 years, we've just been under that cloud. And only until about 10 years ago, where there are just a lot of strides made, what I would call like a small business and accounting revolution that has occurred, where a lot of the solutions like Gusto included or Zero, et cetera, have propped up the pro and said, look, you're more than just a transactional person. You're an advisor, you're a transformational one, and we need to empower you to that end. So we here at Gusto take the same approach. We are totally in the back seat. We're trying to give professionals everything that they need to own the relationship, to make themselves look great, and we want to empower them to that end. And our solution caters to that mentality. And we will never do anything here at Gusto that will undermine that relationship, first and foremost. And there are a lot of solutions out there that do undermine the relationship. They'll say, yes, we're for pros, and then they'll roll out features or announcements that kind of undermine the relationship or dictate a price to say, really, this activity between a pro and a client is really worth only this much. And that's just, we don't take that route at all. Like, professionals, get compensated according to their best value pricing model that they wish to support. All we're here to do is support them in that endeavor.
Gotcha. No, that makes complete sense. And I'm sure we can think of plenty of examples.
Oh, yeah.
Really relate. So then for the clients, are they logging in to Gusto's portal, or is that going to be branded to the accountant? So it's like from the accounting firm's client's perspective, do they know that they're working with Gusto?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So Gusto doesn't currently offer a white label.
Okay.
But the accounting dashboard that professionals use show a co-branded between Gusto and the accounting firm. So mine particularly would say like Gusto plus AdvisorFi. For our clients, they fully are aware that we're using Gusto as the solution. We have access to their profile, and we can surface things and do things inside their account on their behalf if they want us to do it, or they can do it themselves. But yeah, we're really, really super transparent on the whole thing. And small business owners are fully aware that Gusto is the solution, and at the same time that they're working with a professional that helps them with that.
Perfect. I mean, I think that transparency is always the best, and
yeah,
it makes sense that you guys can go in and do work on behalf of the accountant for their clients. So that's all wonderful. Where do you see, and we talked a little bit before this interview, this is not something I asked you, but where do you see Gusto in terms of your position and working with accountants by the end of next year? Like, what is your big goal?
Well, definitely to reach more small business owners with our mission, right? To help them with the three pillars that we so love and build our solutions for. In my world, quite honestly, is to reach a drastic amount of accounting professionals, to get us out into the community more and more, and not to sell accountants, but to empower them, really, to create moments in time where we're empowering them, we're educating them, we're supporting them, and above and beyond a sales motion, and to really try to reach more professionals. So right now we have 100,000 small businesses that use Gusto as a solution. We have 4,500 accounting partners that partner with Gusto. And so obviously we want to drastically increase the amount of small business owners and accounting professionals, while at the same time building more and more robust features within both sides of that equation, right? So, we're a part of conferences, and we throw partner events, and we throw little shindigs afterwards, and we try to do things that try to educate. And for us, that's first and foremost, because I mean, for you, Katie, and for myself, we live on the front lines. And so, when you live on the front lines of an accounting revolution, you feel like things are moving so quickly. How could someone not adopt something like Gusto, because it really solves a lot of problems? But for the mass majority of the accounting and public accounting profession, they don't think like we think. And so we're pretty much outliers. We're super early adopters even today. So even though there's been massive strides made in the past 15 years, this way of thinking, this way of trying to keep your client centered, or quite honestly, look in the mirror as a professional and say, I am worth more than just a transactional individual. It's going to take a little bit of time of awakening, I think. It's like Neo taking the blue pill or the red pill, whichever one, and then waking up from the matrix. So I think it's just continuing the message and trying to reach more people with that message.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just thinking about even where my accounting education started in school, there was no discussion at all around, where the profession's going, and definitely not anything about pricing and recognizing your value. So
Right.
I'm so fascinated to see where these discussions trickle down to, and at what point, if it ever hits the educational level, because I think it's so important. And I mean, that's really what is going to distinguish between the professionals who make it in the future and
Right.
those who eventually they don't have a practice. They can't stay competitive.
No, you're absolutely right. So in South Florida, I used to speak at Beta Alpha Psi, which, obviously the accounting fraternity to join. And so I graduated from Florida Atlantic University, and I used to speak at Beta Alpha Psi. This was prior to Gusto. This was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I was getting myself into a summer, a fall, a spring rotation of speaking to accounting students at Beta Alpha Psi about where the industry was going. And almost every student that would come up to me afterwards would say to themselves, we've not heard anything about this. Like our education doesn't talk about value pricing. Our education isn't even talking about where the industry is moving to. Obviously it's teaching us accounting, and even in the midst of that, it's using archaic resources to teach basic accounting rather than trying to incorporate or weave in what's the latest and greatest in accounting with fundamental learning. So that way, when they graduate with their undergrad or their master's, they're kind of a little up to speed with what's out there, and they've learned what's out there. They've learned accounting through what's out there, but you just don't see that in education. So it's going to take a long time for that stuff to catch up.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, thank you so much, Will, for sharing your knowledge with us, foremost, and also talking about Gusto. I think it's an incredible opportunity for any accountants out there who currently provide these solutions to their clients or are looking to add another stream of revenue and help their clients in a new way. But also, this is awesome for small business owners. I know personally, when I was looking to find insurance for a small company, it is so hard, and benefits, I mean, it's almost impossible. So this is so amazing and going to help so many people. If they want to get in touch with you, Will, where is the best place that they can find you or contact you at?
Yeah, so people can follow me on Twitter at zwilster. You can befriend me on LinkedIn as well. So I think it's /W Lopez Jr. So like Junior. You can reach me at will.lopez, Lopez, at gusto.com. And yeah, thank you so much, Katie. This is awesome. Keep up the great work. I love what you're doing. I personally I've seen you from afar, especially online. And I think you're doing an amazing job trying to like empower the professionals and empower the accounting community, which obviously speaks to my heart. But you're doing awesome. And thank you so much for the time.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, I'll be sure to link all of that information as far as where they can contact you in the description box. And thank you again. We will be back next Friday with another live. So be sure to tune in then. And if you have questions for myself or Will, drop them in the comments below. I'll be sure that we'll seize those. And enjoy your weekend, everyone. I'll see you later. Bye.
All right. Take care.